Ladies and gentlemen, Open Great League is back, and with that, I'm going to use some of the teams that I showed in my best teams videos just to show that these are the teams that I definitely think are going to work. So I want to make sure that you see that I am trying those teams out myself. Today we're going to start with the Shadow Magnezone team, used again by Paul Lasha. She's currently, I think, rank 117 on the leaderboard, somewhere around 30. It's in the thumbnail. I think 3458, if I was to remember right. I made the thumbnail earlier. Yeah, so obviously very good team. Did get her to top 5 on the leaderboard the first time around. She probably isn't. Well, the leaderboard's not updated since Open Great League came into account yesterday, or came into play yesterday, or no, today's Sunday, so 2 days ago, so maybe she has. Anyways, the team is going to be Shadow Magnezone in the front with Cresselia in the back, and the safe swap is going to be Shadow Gligar. Shadow Gligar, the normal moveset. Cresselia actually going to be running Grass Knot and Future Sight. Going to be hitting a lot of things. For more, you're going to see in the video, the Future Sight does come into play quite a lot. Most specifically, it hits very hard against the Shadow Magnezone, where 2 Grass Knots don't KO Shadow Magnezone unless they debuff themselves, obviously. A Grass Knot and a Future Sight does KO a Shadow Magnezone, just to let y'all know that. I've seen it in practice myself. It's in this video. Also, you want to have some play against Skeledirge, which I've seen a decent amount. And yeah, and then in the lead, Shadow Magnezone, obviously you want to try to take shields in matchups where you're neutral, or you want to safe swap into one of these two in the back. If it's like an Annihilate lead, your ABB against Annihilate, Cresselia and Gligar being good against that Annihilate. The only thing that could be really weird is if the Annihilate has like Ice Punch. That could be very bad, switching into Gligar, although you're still kind of outpacing, so they're not going to want to stay in either way. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let's go ahead and get into the video. But first, if you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. It helps me out so much here on YouTube. Let's get into it. All right, again, the moveset's going to be there on the right. They end up in a Azumarill lead and a switch into Charjabug. I wanted to like throw and dip here, but then I really should have just gone into Gligar, to be honest. Oh, no, I didn't want to throw and dip. I wanted to go for, like, infinite energy here. End up catching an X-Scissor here on Gligar, but we've gotten them pretty low here. They're going to basically get KO'd by a dig. We can definitely take another move, maybe even 2, so I just want to keep that in mind. Definitely keep track of their energy. They have thrown, now this is 3 moves. They end up throwing a Discharge, which is weird. I know I can go 3 more, and then I just want to KO. If they shield, we shield. They cannot outpace us. At this point, they're going to be really close to just like Aerial Ace range. They do come back in with the Azumarill. Another reason to get hit by a lot of these moves is to get your HP lowered so that they cannot get as much farm. And I think, yeah, we end up getting them in Half-Life here. They do end up, I think this was a catch. Maybe it wasn't, but we do have 2 moves we can throw right away into this is Azumarill. I do think this is CMP on this next one, but we do have the Cresselia, which is still good against the Azumarill as well. So I'm going to just allow Cresselia to go shields up against the final matchup here. 2 shields, by the way. So Azumarill's moves don't do very much, so I might even let one go through. 1 Grass Knot doesn't KO the Azumarill either, though, so that's a thing to note here. It does like 40%. Maybe I will just shield this because they've stayed in so long, and now I have a huge energy advantage, and I can go for even more energy because Azumarill does take a long time to get through. And this is where Future Sight really comes in handy. Yeah, 2 Grass Knots would not KO from here, and if I was the Magnezone, I would be playing towards that out. But we do have Future Sight, and yeah, when I say playing towards that out, I mean they should go up to 2 wild charges and then throw back to back because they're not really scared of anything happening there, and this game would actually be probably a loss. All right, lead here is Dugong. This is a decent matchup. I like to shield the first move, but they almost always throw Icy Wind. But you can't really afford it because sometimes they will throw Drill Run like this guy did, and I'm just going to go up to 100 energy, throw a wild charge. A Mirror Shot's not going to KO from here, and they're 1 away from the next move, so I'm not going to play around. Again, we can shield if they end up shielding. They end up coming in with a Wigglytuff. I think I'm going to throw this and then come in Cresselia. Wild Charge does more damage, even though the Mirror Shot is super effective. They end up coming with a Guzzlord, so this is where Future Sight is quite bad, but I make sure to go above the Grass Knot energy here, just to make sure that they know, hey, I could have Moonblast even if I don't. And, ooh, my camera's a little off center. Yeah, even though I don't have Moonblast, they don't know that, and they end up shielding the move, so at least I've gotten the shield here. It's going to be a little bit of a weird matchup here because it's actually pretty decent against my whole team. Yeah, Guzzlord is quite good against everything, mainly because Magnezone can't really hit this for super effective, and you can get hit by the Crunch, which does a ton of damage. I don't know exactly how much it does, but, or I guess they could have Brutal Swing. I end up shielding this because it's going to be the hardest move, I think, hitting us here in the back. They still have Wigglytuff, but I don't think it's going to get to a charge move, and I don't want to get too low to where I could get Charmed down, although I, again, still have the Magnezone. But I'm going to just go for the Wild Charge here. You see, I almost go for the Mirror Shot, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're going to be able to farm me down, and Mirror Shot definitely does less damage, even though it's super effective, so I go for the big move, Wild Charge, which at least has the same type of attack bonus here on the Wigglytuff. Alright, Bastiodon lead. This is a little weird. I mean, kind of our whole team's fine against Bastiodon. Cresselia is the worst one against it, but you do have Grass Knot, which combats it. And against some IVs of Bastiodon, you are going to be fine with that Grass Knot. We should not shield here. Bastiodon, a very bulky monster, doesn't really do a lot of damage. We're just trying to get a lot of energy here. It is looking like it's going to be a grass team, or double grass in the back, so yeah, grass hole. So I do want to just throw my Future Sights into this Tropius. It is possible that I think I am thinking about using a shield here, just because we want to make sure that if this is the double grass team, I want to make sure that I'm using shields when I can, because I might not have chances to use them later. I end up trying to go for a farm down here, and I think they get to a move. That's fine. I'm going to just come in with Magnezone, sorry, and then farm this down. Obviously, there's no chance they can get to another move. They probably come back in with the Bastiodon. Okay. And now we have to decide whether or not we're going to go for the Wild Charge or the Mirror Shot. This is the toughest thing about this team. If you do end up going for baits and they don't end up shielding, it's so bad for you. So really keep that in mind when you're going for baits, whether or not you have a switch available to you or catch or things like this, because you don't want to be baiting if you don't have to. There I thought I would definitely get a shield, but obviously we did not. I still have a shield for this, even if they get to a move, and obviously they're not going to farm us down before we farm them down. All right, Lickitung here in the lead again. For this one, oh no, it was a different one. Okay, there's a one later where I do something pretty interesting, and I actually think it's very good, but we'll see later in the video, I guess. So I go for the 2 wild charges. I'm going to go back to back here. If they do end up shielding, I'm going to go back to back. If they don't shield, maybe I'll just try to switch and farm down. They do end up coming in with a Shadow Frostlass, which is the worst case scenario for me. I kind of go up to the dig, but obviously not, hoping that they'll miss what I did there. But yeah, they end up trying to go for a full farm down. I get to another one of these moves, which means I'm going to be able to get the shield here. I probably have to come in Magnezone, and I do have the Mirror Shot, so they already shielded once. We're going to see if they want to shield again coming into this matchup. And they don't end up shielding again, but they do come in with Whiscash. I try to get to a move, but I'm not able to. It is Shadow, so Grass Knot's going to be able to one-shot, basically. And Scald is going to be the strongest move left for this team, so I'm going to shield the Whiscash twice. End up waiting a turn there. Obviously can't see very well with the 150% speed, but yeah, the toughest part here is I'm not going to get the farm down here, which is tough. So I'm not going to, the thing is I have to watch out for a catch. Again, wait a turn, but they're probably going to shield this because they're going to be able to get to another Scald. But now maybe I can farm down everything because I know the Lickitung, while it can get to a move, obviously, like I said before, it's going to be the weakest move. And we're going to CMP on this next move for Grass Knot. So I just decide I know I'm going to lose CMP anyways, so I'm going to throw a fast attack. But I also know that a Scald's not going to be able to KO. That extra fast attack right there, that is just me missing the charge move. Don't do that. Don't do that at your house. All right, Skarmory lead. Obviously, this is really good. They end up coming in with the Whiscash. Obviously, I have a counter to this with the Grass Knot, Cresselia. But the problem is, I'm not going to be able to one-shot a normal Whiscash. But it's probable that they're going to go for the shields against this if they do decide to try to go for a attack drop. But they end up not going for an attack drop. That's fine. It's going to take them 3 Scalds basically to KO me. So again, I'm going to go as much energy as I can in these matchups. If they do decide to shield this now, I probably will have to shield again. Yeah, I end up going for the CMP just in case they overcharged. Maybe they lost track of where my energy was. But yeah, that's fine. I don't know if we got any attack drops here, but we'll throw the Grass Knot. It ends up KOing. They end up coming in with a Feraligatr, and now all I can think is, oh my god, I need to get to this Grass Knot. I do not get to the Grass Knot. Obviously, they have a Skarmory in the back, so now I'm just coming in with this Gligar to try to do damage. Probably just need to save my shields for Magnezone, sorry. And I think that this opponent ends up doing something terrible for me here. So they end up catching. I actually waited a turn there, but I guess they waited a turn as well. I undercharged so that I can get some extra energy, and now I just have to hope that they're one away. I don't think that a resisted mirror shot is going to be able to KO. Obviously, you see out there very low after the Volt Switch goes through, but obviously if no Volt Switch goes through, then it's going to be tough. All right, Azumarill in the lead. Lickitung switch in. I can obviously go for the Wild Charge if I want to here. I end up going for a ton of energy. They end up going for CMP here, which is terrible for me. Maybe it was actually one turn delay switch. Yeah, they end up going for CMP. Very good by the opponent here. Very good play. Yeah, obviously, Azumarill can be handled by the Cresselia if I need to later. They end up going for a double shield, so I'm like, okay, I'll just come in with this. They can go for a little bit of extra damage. Their switch is not up yet, although we do have to be mindful of it because there have been 3 moves thrown in the previous matchup, so their switch is very close to coming up here. Gonna get the damage off. Actually, it's probably up now. Yeah, they do switch in. They're gonna be able to get the farm down here, but I'm just gonna go for as much damage as I can. I have a decent amount of HP left here. I probably can make it to a Aerial Ace. It's close. Yeah, good timing allows me to get to this Aerial Ace, just to do a little bit of extra damage. And now it's, yeah, I can get the farm down here, but I'll probably have to go for a shield. The only thing I have to worry about is energy, but they have thrown multiple moves on the Lickitung, so they're not at good energy there, although I guess I just mismanaged the energy here, but I'm going to switch into this, get the farm down here. Cresselia, the Lickitung is pretty low. They do end up having an Annihilate here. I do end up going for the move right away. The thing is, I should have waited a turn 100%, but also I'm not in any danger of losing to this Annihilate because it takes them 8 to get to the Shadow Ball anyways. If they end up going for, they won't be able to make it to a Night Slash and a Shadow Ball, so they go for the Shadow Ball right away, and we just KO. And that'll be GG. So, yeah, should have waited a turn for sure. Got a little restless. I think this was last night at 9 p.m., so pretty late for me, although I knew, oh, you know what it was? I think this was, we'll see. I think this might have been the last set before I had friends coming over, and so I was just trying to speed through these battles. End up getting the attack drop, which sucks, from the Moonblast here. Go for the Wild Charge, could go for the double Wild Charge, and then maybe go into my own Cresselia if they do decide to shield. If they don't decide to shield, we have to just see what happens. They do end up coming in with Annihilate. We have an ABB against Annihilate, so I just know that Cresselia is going to be good against that Annihilate, obviously in the back, so we got to think about what they're going to try to do here. It seems like they're going to try to gain a ton of energy. The first move we can allow through. So we need to make sure that the thing we need to make sure most is that Mandibuzz does not get slated against Cresselia. I can afford shields in this matchup because we can force it to get KO'd if they go for way too much energy, which they did here. I think they're trying to wait for their clock to come up, and they want to try to have this Mandibuzz for later, which is interesting. I think I'll probably end up letting... Oh, okay. I guess I'm 2 away. Or, oh no, I'm one away. That makes a lot more sense because they seem like they're definitely going for the most efficient timing, which is going to allow us to get to another move here. Now I'm going to let this go. I can come in with... I actually can be really cheeky here and come in with Cresselia because 100% they're going to switch. But they technically have more energy than me, so I'm not going to throw a move right away because we would have gone for CMP, although technically it looks like we got the one-turn switch. So they end up going for a Night Slash, and then I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to let them try to go for double Night Slash here. I'm going to go for no damage taken, and I can just throw the Grass Knot into this. I didn't know what their energy was, so I didn't want them to catch in the Magnezone, but to be fair, it wouldn't have mattered that much. Alright, Altaria. Wild Charge is good against Altaria. Sometimes I like to shield this move. I do know this is a Sky attack. They've obviously... Well, they have gone up to 20, to be fair. So it could have not been. They end up coming with a Vigoroth, and I'm like... I mean, you do a lot of damage with your counters, but we do a lot of damage here. And now I can just come in with Cresselia, go for this massive farm down. Body Slam is a good move, but counters resisted, so it's going to look like this thing kind of doesn't do very much damage to me. Cresselia is quite bulky, but look at this massive farm down we're getting. The Cresselia is going to come, or the Altaria is going to come back in, and we're going to have 100 energy here. So we can throw... we want to throw the big move. Obviously, we don't want to throw the double resisted move. We have a ton of energy extra. If they do end up shielding, we're going to make it to another one before they shield again, or before they throw again. Yeah, and we might even live a Sky attack from this range. But yeah, we want to see what's here in the back. Hopefully they do end up... yeah, ends up being a Lantern. Technically, we're going to get to the Grass Knot before them. 5/6. The only thing is we have to be cognizant of what they're going to come in with. Or, sorry, of a full farm down, how much energy they're going to get. And this is what I'm talking about. Baiting is horrific on Magnezone, so I just wanted to show you that, yeah, sometimes it does not go well. They do have one shield, and I really probably should have thrown the... well, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely should have thrown the big move. I just didn't want to get, like, farmed down later. Obviously, we can take one Surf here, but I don't want to. So now you definitely can't bait. We can live a Surf, so I shouldn't be too worried about that. I think they end up trying to call another bait here, and we did call it right this time, so yeah, GG. All right, look at something here in the front. This is where I think I got really cheeky. So I end up going for a Mirror Shot right away because it looks like I'm going to go for a big move and dip, some of that chip and dip damage. And I'm like, they're definitely going to shield, so let me just go for it. And then they have some weird timing here, but to be fair, it's a 4-turn move, and I kind of have to throw right away anyways again. So I'm just going to throw the big move again at them, maybe get 2 shields here in the lead. And then I think that IVs on the Lickitung. So actually, my Shadow Magnezone could be terrible for all I know. I actually don't know the IVs on this. But obviously, I'm going to come in Cresselia after this. Cresselia is the thing that can handle this the best. But they end up not taking it. And, you know, my defense is already fallen here. Probably just want to see if they come in with a Magnezone. They do end up coming in with a Gligar. I'm going to go for this, the only move I can get to, and then I'm going to switch out. I don't want them to get this massive farm down. I go into the mirror. I did get the defense drop, or the attack drop rather, and that'll be GG. So yeah, some takeaways to really think about here is really don't bait unless you have to, and then even if you have to, sometimes your opponent's going to call that you have to do that type of thing. So yeah, the baiting is obviously a lot worse than the charge move here, or the big move here. So I would, I don't know. You have to make the calls yourself. But I just want to say the bait is so much worse than the non-bait that you really want to make sure that you're playing optimally. Again, another thing to note is this is an ABB team against the likes of Annihilate, but it is a lot worse against regular Whiscash. Shadow Whiscash is okay. Since it's Shadow, it's going to be able to take a lot more damage from things like Gligar. And even the Magnezone at the end of the day can do some damage to the Shadow version. So actually Swampert's pretty bad for this team, but you don't see too much Swampert. And then Aquatail Shadow Quagsire is really bad. And then non-Shadow Whiscash. So those are the things you want to watch out for. If you're seeing a lot of those, maybe this is not the team for you. But if you're seeing all of the other things in this meta, then I think this team's fantastic. Obviously, Palasha has gone high on the leaderboard and stayed that high, so really good for her. If you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button to this channel. I'm going to be putting videos out, and we have move changes for the next season. I don't know if I'm going to put a video out. A lot of other content creators have. I might wait for the actual changes, but we'll see. We'll see. And if you like this video, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you achieve your goals for this season, and I will be here. Check out the best teams video. It's going to be linked at the end of this video anyways, in the next 20 seconds. But to see if there's other teams you might like other than this one, I think I linked to the 7 that hit rank 1 this season that I covered. Yeah, see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video, and if you want to continue to support me, definitely click that subscribe button. You'll see any content coming out, and if you want another video on this same league for some more tips and tricks to other teams, check that video out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.